you do is smoke pot and watch TV all day.
Smoke dope?
Marijuana hash.
Marijuana!
My name is Mike, and I'm from Covington, Kentucky. In 2003, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's very early, at 29 years old. That's why I'm standing here shaking today. I moved to Cincinnati in 2003 because it was a $100 fine for anything up to an ounce of weed. In 2007, they changed that and started arresting you for anything as small as a roach.
Or a seed.
My doctor tells me I should smoke weed. She tells me I should move to a state that allows you to smoke weed for medical reasons. No, I should not.
Yes.
My state should let me do it there.
Yes.
Yes. Why do I have to move 2,000 miles from my family to smoke weed for medical reasons?
That's damn right. Ooh.
It's enough.
Yes, it is.
The way I was taught was marijuana, hemp, was made illegal basically because of the cotton industry. I'll wear cotton and hemp, damn it. I want to be able to not stand here. Do you see my hands?
I see it.
That is not a game. I am going to die one day because my nervous system is going to shut down. Why do I have to suffer until that day? I don't know why.
Shouldn't happen.
I shouldn't have to. I don't know why I do. And
The government doesn't care. Got it, man. The government gives a fuck.
I don't know why. You know, I'm sure there's people in our government that does care. But it takes more than a few people to do anything in this country. I'm going to quote the man over there in that White House. Nothing can stand in the way of millions of voices calling for change. Tell your friends, next year, let's build this park. Thank you.
Hello. Can you hear me? Good. Thank you very much. I'm pleased to be able to speak with you today. As always, it's a much greater honor for me to address you than it is for you to address me. After all, I'm just some old hippie with a target on my chest. But I'm come to you today with a message of great success and significance from the wild western ways of Ohio, America's first frontier state. This year, how many of you are familiar with something called the Million Marijuana March, or maybe the... Yeah, all right, well, you know, numbers have been kind of tough the last few years with 9/11 and all that, right? This year, with the new administration, the new politics, the new government, that's right, the time for change. I agree with that sentiment. And with that time for change, I can successfully report to you that the Columbus, Ohio chapter of the Million Marijuana March for 2009 drew 505 people at our annual event. Now that may not sound like much, but then you got to realize that this is an event that normally draws only about 100 people.
Yes.
We were plagued with with good weather, and we were also victim to successful promotion. We put out about 10,000 flyers in advance. By golly, it worked. We had one of the largest and most successful marijuana marches in the history of Columbus, Ohio. Hi, Rupert. I was very pleased to be able to come here and say this to you, because what this tells me is also something very important. The time is right, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
The time is right.
Yes.
I expect that we shall have a very healthy harvest season this year, both politically and agriculturally. We are here in our nation's capital in the little protest park right across from the belly of the beast itself, but now we got a new leader in the belly of that beast. And frankly, if you want my opinion, the head is much brainier than it was last year. We have a new president. We have a new administration. We have a new national attitude that has not been seen, the likes of which in this country, literally since the days of Jimmy Carter. I'm an old fart. I've been around. I've seen it. I know what I'm talking about. Literally, since the days of Jimmy Carter, we have not had a better time or opportunity or chance to act and strike than we have now.
Damn right.
I know that a lot of you have come from all across the country to be here today. So I hope my words get carried back to your homes and your communities to know that there is hope. That in the last year, 13 states have legalized or decriminalized medical marijuana or criminal penalties of marijuana. That 5 whole countries have done away with criminal penalties for marijuana possession. This, my friends, is progress. You can go back and look in the back pages of Steal This Book or Revolution for the Hell of It and see the platforms that were published there and see that this is the last major issue to be overcome since those days. We can't stop now. We cannot stop now. We must go forward. We must take this initiative, which is what is being handed to us, the initiative. We now have the bully pulpit and the whip hand, and we must apply them, or else we are wasting our time and our breath, and we will lose our chance. Please, I beg of you, go home, make it happen, light a fire under their ass, do what you gotta do, but God dang it, get it done. Thank you very much and good night. We need to change the date. Hold on a second. And now I'd like to take a key researcher, a political leader, and someone who's admired by many here today, Dana Field, author of the Iverson book. Hi. Well, we did a great poster for this. I think people know about this all over the country.
Where's the T-shirt?
Wish more people would come, but you know, basically people come to these things because their friends are going. Sort of a guy in a white shirt. So, you know, you got to bring more friends. And then next year, more people will come. Yeah. And anyway, more people will show up by 3. Well, let's see here. I got another speech I give down at the other site, so I'll save all the stuff for that. I don't want to give you the history of the smoking. But it is interesting to compare this with the beginning, right? Richard Milhouse Nixon. Honor America Day. And it's interesting because Richard Nixon was a little Nazi, but he actually played to the left because he felt the country was more to the left than he was, and that if he was going to have a successful legislative legacy, that he needed to do some stuff that would, unite the Democrats and the Republicans. So he, believe it or not, put in some pretty progressive laws. Now, we remember Richard Nixon for, Vietnam? Watergate? This doesn't sound like very progressive stuff. No. But you have to understand that this country when Richard Nixon got the Schaefer Commission report, it wasn't so much, and that was a report that recommended, I guess, was decrim, legalization. Keith Straub, I don't know, he was either working with the congressional aide or working with an aide to the commission, or he was an aide to the commission. This is lost in time. You know, this is the current chairman of the board of Normal. He spent a lot of time. This guy Schaefer was, I guess, governor of senator from like Pennsylvania, something like that. I know that Ronald Reagan picked him to be his vice president later, but that was '76. Reagan didn't become a winning presidential candidate because Ford shut him out. So Schaefer didn't have a second chance. That's how we got George Bush. But Nixon actually looked at it pretty dispassionately. He just said the American people are not ready for legalized marijuana, no matter what the rights or wrongs or merits of the issue are. And I remember that in the left wing of, you know, the peace movement and the labor movement, at the time, there was a lot of Puritanism. I remember it was a big deal when we went down to the Democratic Convention in '72, and Ralph Abernathy, who was, of course, the heir of Martin Luther King, said, yeah, those pot people should have their freedom too. But a lot of people, all commies, I guess, a lot of people in the left really didn't like pot. And they would disguise it, say things like, well, it's a trivial issue. You know, it's too trivial. We have to, like, deal with the real issues, like peace in some country or jobs or, you know, in other words, the people going to jail and all the other stuff that happened later, like losing your family or losing your house. Even though it's a violation of that person's personhood, their rights, it's a really trivial thing. Like, basically, they just were saying, we don't want to pick up that cudgel. We don't want to go there. It took 40 years to where most progressive people now want to change the law.
Most progressive. I mean, it's most altogether.
It isn't just the libertarian,
the rednecks want to give it up.
right-wing nut jobs anymore. It's actually people who subscribe to MoveOn.org. Part of that was my good friend Dennis Perone passing that law in California.
Yes!
Proposition 215.
Yes!
Fortunately, it's legalized pot now. You would think that they would want to look at a drug that potentially we could cure heroin addiction for about $1,000. I mean, it's about $200 for the Ibogaine and some, clinic time at a nurse and about a day and a half sitting laying in a bed. You're at the door, maybe go to an aftercare place where, you sit around with the other ex-junkies and talk about how great it is not to be strung out anymore. You would think that a drug that with one or two treatments could take the viral load from hepatitis C. I'm not talking about pot here. Pot's somewhat good for
some of the side effects of hepatitis C too. But what about Ibogaine? You have things like, take Ibogaine twice, their viral load went from 400,000 to 10,000. They were able to finish it off with alpha-lipoleic acid, selenium, and milk thistle. Supplements. Now what's the alternative? This really expensive shit called interferon. Pegylated interferon. This is very expensive. You got to take it every day. You got to take it for 18 months. It's so expensive.
All right, I'll get him out.
That some health plans won't pay for it all the way till the end of the 18 months.
Walks away.
And if you are addicted to drugs, and this is the main way that hepatitis C is spread, is drug abuse. If you're addicted to drugs, they won't make the treatment available to you at all. You can just die, as far as they're concerned. Because they think that, you know, the drugs are going to counteract the hepatitis C, and, you know, why bother? Well, I'll tell you why we should bother. You have AIDS. It's almost impossible for you to give me AIDS unless we have sex. Hepatitis C, I just sneezed. I blew it on a rag. The hepatitis C virus will keep living in the dried up snot and it might infect you. So now we have this killer disease that kills more people than HIV. Right now, more people drop dead in this country from hepatitis C, or, you know, after you get rid of the hepatitis C, the interferon itself gives you cancer, and you die from that. So it kills more people than AIDS. And you would think the White House would rush this stuff to the American people so that they could claim they cured hepatitis C, cured addiction to heroin, cured addiction to crack, cured addiction to all kinds of drugs abuse, including illegal ones, and take credit for a massive drop of abuse by 2012. But no! They're gonna hoard their political capital, and they don't want to, like, tangle with this little group of people who say, we don't care if you've got the cure to everything. If it's an illegal drug, it stays illegal. Because we don't want to send a message to kids that the government sometimes, like with medical marijuana, fucks up and bans something they shouldn't ban. Of course, you know, the way they ban stuff, it isn't up to doctors, it's up to the DEA. Right? The DEA says, well, it looks like drug abuse to us. Then they make it illegal. I got a gut feeling it looks like drug abuse. Now they got thousands of things that are illegal. Well, naturally, the narcs want to have more shit that they can bust people for. Yeah. So, I'm getting there, I'm getting to the point we're at right here. This is the topical march, the topical part of my rap. This is not the history of the smoking.
What it is?
People always do that. They come along and cause me to lose my train of thought, and then it takes longer to finish the month. Jesus Christ. Anyway, he wants to hoard his political capital so he can deal with the real problem, which is the Great Depression. Well, did it ever occur to you, Mr. President, if we could all smoke a joint, maybe the country wouldn't be so depressed? the latest. I'm not getting to my point here. The latest numbers from the economy are very bad.
Country, if
Stimulus
everyone could
isn't
smoke
working.
a joint, the country would be
So now they got to
depressed.
hoard before the capital to pass the new stimulus package instead of letting people smoke marijuana. Which everything says, if you legalize pot, you could do away with farm subsidies because you wouldn't need the fertilizer, you wouldn't need the pesticides. You just use hemp for rotation of the crops, the corn and the soybeans. And you wouldn't have nematodes, and it would fix nitrogen in the soil. And marijuana itself would be this great medical boon. Cut healthcare costs because people wouldn't be buying real expensive shit. The government wouldn't have to pay for it. They could just grow a plant. Not to mention, fruit, fuel, fiber, and all that great stuff. It, would be good for the economy.
Yeah.
But no, we're going to have to go through Congress and go through the states and push this through almost as if the White House was still run by George Bush. Ow! God, man. You want to make it really hard here? Okay. So that's why actually we're following up on the iodine right now, because there's other people doing the medical marijuana and the marijuana, and they actually, Marijuana Policy Project asked me to butt out. Rob Campia, through various intermediaries, said, please don't work on medical marijuana in New York. Let us do it. I mean, they made it to the point where I can't testify. Godfrey doesn't want to talk to me. And of course, it's because Rob Campia doesn't believe in iodine. He says, I don't give a damn about joints. But then, what am I going to work on? I got to work on iodine, right? Because that's the only thing I can work on. Because I'm not going to go step on their presentation or screw up their thing. Let them do it. Let them try. Even though the latest bill they're trying to pass even worse than the previous bill they're trying to pass.
Because I was like, yeah, it's all an orange on it.
I'm not going to be the one that sinks their ship. I'm not going to be the saboteur that, brings down the whole movement with backbiting and infighting. So we went out to talk to Danny Davis. If you're from Chicago, you know who he is. He's the guy in the black congressional delegation from Chicago that handles their stuff. And I don't want you to feel bad about this, okay? Because remember, the main argument used to stop marijuana from being legalized, whether it's medical marijuana or public health marijuana, which is what I call recreational marijuana, since obviously it would be better for people to smoke marijuana than to smoke cigarettes or drink alcohol. Does anybody have any question about that? Anybody have any doubt about that?
They even set up a ban called flash.
It's just so much safer than in any kind of rational society we would be smoking pot instead of drinking and smoking that stuff.
I know.
So what is the main argument used to block the safer substance? That we have a gateway effect. Even though, all studies show the gateway effect is a function of marijuana being in the illegal market. And drug dealers who are pushing crack on people, using it to lure people into their den of iniquity. So if we legalize pot, that would be the best thing to get rid of the gateway effect. So if we have something where we can say we're turning people back into potheads, if we have something we can say that has a reverse gateway effect, we have a pretty good argument to scotch that gateway effect crap. So I welcome welcome the Great Depression, because the longer this goes on, the more California is forced to give out IOUs to its employees, the more it's going to become not impossible but probable that my great argument of today, because, you know, I come up with new arguments every year. I'm always working. The great argument for 2009 is not just to tax marijuana, or the money will save. Not locking people up for marijuana. No, the great argument is that we got these people in law enforcement that won't give up marijuana prohibition no matter what. In California, they go to the feds. Some sheriff will go to the feds. And you get Charles Lynch over here in the picture going to jail because the local sheriff decided that even though he was completely compliant with the law, he would try to send Charles Lynch to prison for 10 years. So we have a simple program that I want you to pick up on today. A little mantra I want you to begin to repeat to anyone who will listen. The third way we're going to save money by legalizing pot is to fire every cop who ever made a marijuana arrest. We got too many damn cops in this country. We got millions of layoffs, millions of narcs. How about a few laid off narcs? We gotta cut these overstaffed, over-budgeted police forces. I don't want to see fucking teachers laid off, because I got teachers in my family, so that we can have prison guards. And these nasty, contemptuous cops arrest people for marijuana should not only be let go, not only let go with the pink slip, their job should be terminated and their pension should be taken back and put into the general fund. And they should take up a new role in life down in the homeless encampment by the river. And that way we'll have very well policed homeless encampments, just filled with ex-cops the great thing is we'll have good police services for the homeless, and the government won't have to pay. So I'll just leave you with that thought. Fire an arc today.
Smoking, Dana Bear.
Hello, my name is Rene Wolfe. I am the first MS patient in the state of Michigan ever tested with government-issued marijuana. Because I had the balls to go to my doctor and tell him, dude, you got to check this shit out. I cannot heel-toe walk before I smoke, but I can after I smoke. There's something to this, which makes me the first MS patient. And I'm so proud of that, because I went into Representative McCollum's office the day he was introducing anti-medical marijuana legislation. And I fired up a fatty. And they proceeded to arrest me and ultimately convict me. Sentenced me to 50 hours of community service time and $50 costs and fees. If that was all it was going to cost me, you think I wouldn't do it again? And there are neuroregenerative properties involved with cannabis. I've only had MS for 30 years. They told me in 3 to 5 years I would permanently be in a wheelchair. And I'm not. And God blessed me with that. How's it going, dude?
Okay. All right.
Good for you.
How you doing?
I'm hanging in there.
Go Michigan!
Hey, go Michigan. I have a permission slip. Here, it's in that pouch. There's 2 cards. They're real close.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, shit. Okay, this happens. There they are.
We believe you.
Oh, shit. There. Here's my cards. Oh. Here's my cards. From the state of Michigan. I got them delivered in the mail from them. One says I can possess plants, the other says I can't. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do. Yeah. Well, you see, we have to do this together. It is up to us. And if we don't stand up for ourselves, then we're going to fall down. And I ain't going for that. And God bless all of you for being here. I wish we could have had about 10,000 more. But God bless all of you. And thank you for coming out.
Thank you, baby. We'll change batteries. It's going to take a minute. You okay, dear?
Good job. Free speech, our constitutional rights. It's what makes America great.
40th annual DC Smoke In. So long ago, people gathered here and Nixon was president. And we just got done with 8 years of the kind of corruption that would have made Nixon blush. But we're still here. We're still high. We're used to it. So get used to it. I want to say something I've said here before. Hopefully people haven't heard me speak before. And actually I want to do something else too before I get started. We have some banners here that are needing fresh people to hold them up. We've got a hemp fuel banner here. It's really important. I'd like to have that actually close to the stage for something I'm going to get into here. But we've got the DC Smoke-In banner over there. It's the official banner of today. We should have it unfurled, it seems to me. And let's see, we have other banners. We have one other banner here. Simply says cannabis. I get 2 people to hold the cannabis banner. Come on, somebody come up. Okay, you got it. All right. Take this, may it serve you well. Because how can a law in America be a legal law if there's racist hate speech in the context of that law? If there's racist hate speech, even, I would dare say, in the intention of that law. Now that we have our first black president, the question I have is, will our first black president do away with our last Jim Crow law? Hey, Obama, you had trouble quitting smoking? Let me tell you how I quit smoking. Anybody here can raise their hand, say that pot helped them kick nicotine out of their lives? Look at that. We're healthy people. We understand cannabis public health. It's not recreational use. If it's healthy for the patients to use, how much more so for the healthy people to use? I don't have my single-payer health care system yet, but now in Michigan I've got a single-grower health care system. Every patient should have the right to grow their own medicine. And I don't want to see people growing who are the caregivers saying, well, let's see, this pot's going to replace $3,000 worth of medication, so I guess I'm going to charge you just a little less than $3,000 for your medication. No, no. It's not going to be like that. Because caregivers from organizations like Cures Not Wars and Normal are going to be there to provide the medicine for cost, to keep the cost down, keep our medicine available. But I want to say Shalom Shabbat to those who are there who understand the Sabbath. I gave up church to be here today, so I can't let this go without at least a passing mention of the Lord. And my favorite Bible quote for today, if you're an activist, go read Acts 4:20. Because Acts 4:20 says, "But I cannot but speak of what I have seen and heard." Meaning you can't shut up about it. You've been touched. You've felt the truth. You've experienced the truth. And you can go to Washington, D.C., where the lies are so thick and say, hey, where's your truth? I'm here defending the cannabis truth, the only medicine nobody's ever become addicted to. I've traveled from D.C. to Seattle every year now since 2002. I must know 1 million people who smoke pot by now. I'm looking for that guy who smokes pot and doesn't do other drugs and is having a problem. Where is that guy? I haven't met him, and if I do meet him, I have a feeling I can get right down to the bottom of his situation right away. But I want to say, since there are unfriendlies here and hauling people away in small groups like that, that I don't use marijuana. Let me say it again, I don't use marijuana. Oh, and you shouldn't use marijuana either, because marijuana is a stupid thing. Marijuana insults my intelligence. Marijuana is a joke. No, marijuana is a lie. Because marijuana is just a word. An evil, racist word they use to trick our Congress into making a law to outlaw our planet's premier resource, energy crop. We would not have nylon and polyester everywhere if we still had hemp, what should be the cheapest fabric on the planet. I'm Jay, the hemp guy from Michigan. Normally when you see me, and I'm not expecting to wreck my clothes today at work, I'll be wearing hemp, because every article of clothing you can think of can be found in hemp. So support the hemp industry and support your own freedom. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to talk to you again at the other stage, but I just want to say one thing. If we're marching today, I found it's easier to sing sometimes than to chant. And so I've been working on one that kind of goes like this, if you can kind of keep it in mind. We're still waiting, Obama. We're still waiting, Obama. It ain't funny, Obama. It's not funny, Obama. And then I'll just shout out other things that you can see in between the Obamas. So remember that for the march today, and we'll all have a great time.
James, Michigan.
All right. All right. Now, we have about a half an hour left for speakers. You've been very patient. I want to thank you all for coming out. In about a half an hour, we're going to start organizing the march. It's time. Are you on the march? We got to get us all together here. Take that march out. It's getting to look right. If we can get that march to go all the way back towards that second light. Thanks everybody for coming out. Join us. We're a beautiful place America can be.
All right, park. Free of the weed. The 40th annual DC Smoke-In Hot Parade is departing Lafayette Park to Smoke Park.
Thank you, everybody. We love you. Have a happy 4th of July, America. Peace. Hey.
Come here.